we're going to present, right? We're going to do a deck, go over the information. I'm sure that's why you're here. Feel free to drop any questions you have in a chat. We'll do a Q&A at the very end, but I don't want you to forget it. So feel free to just drop it there and we'll be sure to answer everybody at the very end. And in the meantime, if you don't mind, go ahead and mute yourself. At the very end, you could come off mute, but just to make sure we can flow, make sure you can hear our voices. Does that sound good to everyone? Yeah, awesome. Sweet. All right, Allie, let's go ahead and jump into this. Great. Let me go ahead. Sorry, I'm going to close my window, make sure I can see everyone. Great. Perfect. So before we jump into this, who are we, right? Who are we as an organization? Why do we run programs like this? And so I'm going to read our mission because it's very important to us. It's what drives us. It's what drives each of our team members. It's what drives the programs we do. So Grid110, our mission is to foster the most thriving, inviting, and inclusive community for entrepreneurs in Los Angeles and beyond. We believe anyone with the goal of becoming an entrepreneur should have a chance to pursue it and receive support along the way. Our work impacts individuals who are often overlooked by traditional entrepreneurial ecosystems. That's what drives us to make the entrepreneurial path more equitable, inclusive, and accessible. And we do this through a number of different ways, right? We offer cohort-based programs. So it was founded on a desire to build community. I'm sure quite a few of you are here for that, right? Especially being a solo entrepreneur, if that's you, right? It's community, it's building community together and supporting each other along the way. And we're fans of that as well. The second part is education. Always be learning. Always be learning. Just like you learn, we learn as well from you, right? So it's a relationship, if you will. So for instance, even with our programs, we do feedback forms after each week, and we discuss that every single week, what the founders are saying, what's vibing with them, opportunities to improve, right? Because always be learning and you need to be accountable. And last but not least, we are a nonprofit. So we do not charge or take equity in your company. So our values, right? What drives us? What do we hold as important? So we hold these 4 things and more, but these are the things that we're accountable on, right? Community, belonging, generosity, empathy. So community, right? We believe in fostering fellowship amongst each other. We believe it takes a village type of phrase, if you've ever heard that, right? It takes a village to become who you become. We support each other along the way. You give and you take and you offer. And so you'll see that with other founders as well who are part of our communities. They're honestly amazing. I love them so much, and it's a pleasure even serving them. Belonging. We believe in creating an environment where people feel accepted and seen, right? This is LA. Why do you come to LA? What makes LA so special? This is a melting pot, y'all, right? This is LA. And so this is a place where everybody should belong and feel like they can thrive and feel supported. And so that's a value of ours as well. Third, generosity. Susan, can you go ahead and mute yourself if you're able to? Thank you. Generosity, we believe in nurturing a sense of selflessness, right? Generous with your time, generous with your knowledge, your support, pour into others just like you hope to be poured into. And so that's what drives us. And last but not least, empathy. Empathy is a superpower, right? We want empathetic human beings. This should be applauded. This should be praised. And so these are our values, if you will: community, belonging, generosity, and empathy. And so the team, so this is the team, Grid110 team, awesome human beings here. I am so sorry, I didn't even introduce myself, but I'm Carolyn Jones. I'm the program director at Grid110, right? So I manage all the programs that you see, such as this one. And Allie, want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Allie. I'm the operations manager here at Grid110. So focused on a lot of our internal systems and platforms and tools, as well as our application through selection process for our programs and bootcamp. Yeah, so excited to see so many new faces on this call today.
Awesome. Thank you, Allie. And you also can see Mickey. She's our CEO. She's also a co-founder of Grid110. Maya, our marketing expert, our marketing lead. Michelle, executive assistant here. Awesome support. And then we have EIRs, entrepreneurs and residents. These are founders themselves, founders who've been in the same place, same shoes as you. And so we have three: Avery, Joe, and Trevor. So shout out to my team here. And they all say hello as well and wish they could have joined us today. This is our portfolio companies, right? So it's really important to understand with Grid110, we have supported anything from an idea on a piece of paper, all the way to a company that's an MVP, all the way to a company that is raising our seed round, right? And so this portfolio comprises of all these different stages, including the stage that you might find yourself in right now, the earliest entrepreneurs. So impact and traction, just, why are we doing this? We've been doing this for 7 years, right? This is our 7th year. We've done 24 cohorts, including, programs that concentrated solely on idea to product companies, right? So companies similar stage as you. We've had programs focusing on here. We have supported 270 companies. 70% of those companies have a founder who identifies as a person of color. 71% has a founder that identifies as a woman. And these founders have gone on to do incredible things. They have gone on to create 495 local jobs. They've gone on to raise $120 million, right? They're not messing around here. And so this is the incredible companies that make up our portfolio. And Allie, there was something else too that I really wanted to point out with the stat. Do you by any chance have that stat specifically for idea, product stage companies?
Yeah, so of the 120 million collective funding raised, about 40% of it, or 50 million, has been raised by companies that we've worked with in an idea stage in our accelerator program. So a pretty big chunk of that comes from companies such as you, founders in your similar stage that are in that idea starting out stage. So really exciting to see that slice of growth as well.
Right. Thank you, Allie. And I think it's important to say, I know when we say fundraising, we automatically seem to think VC, right? But it's not that. Our founders don't all go VC. We have grants, we have angel investing, we have crowdfunding, right? We support all types of funding, including bootstrapping, right? If you're a founder who's like, I'm going all the way, I don't want to take, money, all good. We support you too, and there is a place for you as well. And so these are our founders, just so incredibly proud of them. So Idea to Launch Bootcamp, right? Let's talk about it. What's going on? So we've been listening, we hear you, and we've been listening, right? As I mentioned before, we used to run this idea to product program, and we haven't offered it in a couple of years, but we're listening and hearing there's a need, right? Where is that program? And so we've been hearing you, and we created a boot camp specifically for you. So this is a 6-week boot camp consisting of a mix of self-directed content plus weekly live discussions, right? So what does that mean? So self-directed content means what you'll be doing if accepted into the boot camp. We have content, right? Pre-recorded content that you can watch on your own time. We understand that a lot of you are juggling full-time jobs. So we are trying to make this as easy as possible for you too, and to work with you. So we'll have content, we'll have assignments that you can do at your own time, at your own pace. And then each week, we will ask you to attend a live discussion with one of our EIRs, right? So we can discuss the content that you just listened to beforehand. You can ask questions. You can talk about your company, right? So we're really hyper focused on that 60 minutes on you, your company, your questions, all of that, right? And so who is this program for? Who? So this is designed for LA-based founders in the earliest stages of their ventures, right? Maybe you have an idea, maybe you've been working on something and you're stuck, or you need community, or you're getting ready to launch and you want that accountability or that structure. Well, great, you're in the right place. This is also for founders looking to launch, right, a functional product or service within the next 3 months, right? So if that is your goal, you're in the right place. Also, we're here to support founders looking to grow their network in the LA startup ecosystem, right? Are you looking to build your village? Are you looking to build your community? We hear you. That is such an important part of just being a human being, to be honest, but especially as an entrepreneur with the ups and the downs, right? So that is the founder type of profile, if you will, that we created this boot camp for. So the program itself, the boot camp, it'll run for 6 weeks and it'll start on May 10th and go until June 21st, right? The live discussion sessions will be held on Wednesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right? So that's the mandatory portion of this boot camp, is the Wednesdays 5 to 6 Pacific Standard Time. The format, again, consists of a mix of self-directed content plus weekly live discussions. And the focus is on foundational knowledge, right? So do you know how to talk to me about your problem? Do you know about your solution? Do you know problem solution fit? What about your value proposition? Why your company? What makes it valuable? Why now? Customer discovery. Do you have customers? Maybe you don't, and that's okay. We'll give you the tools on how to interview and talk to prospective customers. And you'll also be able to pitch, right? You'll practice pitching and storytelling, right? So we'll support you with all of these things, and that's what you'll learn in this boot camp and more, but this is the main focus. So additional info. So Ali, I'll kick it over to you.
Yep. So talking a little bit outside of the weekly sessions and the pre-recorded content, kind of what else that you're getting out of this boot camp. I think Carolyn talked about this in relation to our values, and want to highlight here that the community element is super important as well in all of what we do, but especially in this boot camp. You'll be able to learn from experts in those weekly live sessions, ask your questions, have that really smaller experience within the bootcamp itself, as well as build community with other participants. Maybe you don't know other founders in the LA space, or haven't connected with people just yet, or want to connect with an even larger community. This is a great opportunity to do so. And then, and beyond this, some companies out of the Idea to Launch Bootcamp that demonstrate that they're ready for the next step and to really take their business forward will move on to a 3-month mentorship program where you'll get to meet with even more experts and have even more learning, mentorship, community, and more. So more details on that as we get closer to all of that, but just a few things I wanted to highlight now as we think about kind of what else beyond the weekly sessions and content itself. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the application. If you haven't had a chance to open it up yet, it's on our website, in a lot of our all of our social media posts these days around Idea to Launch. So there's quite a few components, lots of capturing company information and founder information, as well as a short response section, a video element, and an opportunity to include some additional documentation. So there's a couple of short response questions, but a few I wanted to highlight here. We ask you about your progress and traction to date. So I know we often get questions about this, what this means, what you should be sharing, what this looks like. And we know that traction can be defined in a number of ways by a number of factors. So we want you to talk about, what you've done to validate your concept. What kinds of things have you seen growth on in the past couple of months or since you started working on this? Maybe that's user growth, customer growth, maybe that's newsletter signups, maybe that's revenue growth, product development. It could be a number of things, but that's a really good opportunity to give us a sense of the work you've done on this. And just tell us a little bit more about what that has looked like for however long you've been working on it. Another question is around company milestones that you're looking to achieve in the near short term, 3 to 6 month kind of period. And this will be super helpful to get a sense of what your upcoming goals are, where you're looking to bring your idea and business forward, and can also help us as we make sure that the bootcamp is a right fit for you and where you're going. And then, another question that we always love to ask, because I think, we definitely want details of your idea and who you are as a founder, but want to get to know you as a person a bit better as well. So we always like to ask about 5 facts that are maybe interesting or quirky or special to you that we wouldn't know by looking at your LinkedIn or resume, just to get to know you a little bit better. I think that's always interesting for us, but also can help show kind of who you are outside of being a founder and pursuing this idea. So next we have a required video element, 2 minutes maximum. And that is to answer both, an introduction to yourself and your company, as well as why you're interested in this bootcamp. So make sure that you answer both of those within the 2 minutes. And I will say for the application itself, I recommend working on it on a separate document so that you can kind of collect your thoughts, because the application does not save as you go, and just want to make sure you don't lose anything. So work on it separately and then transfer your answers when you feel like they're good to go. And same with the video. Please test out the link with someone beforehand. Make sure that it works to be viewed by anyone so that we can make sure to see it. And there's some additional language on that in the application, but the video does not have to be something fancy, edited. Anything works as far as we could see you, and it can be straight to a phone, 2 minutes or less. Doesn't need to be anything that involved in terms of editing or presentation. And then optional documents that you can add is if you have a pitch deck or brand deck or anything supplemental that you think will be helpful to us looking at your idea or company. This could look like a lot of different things. So if you think that'd be helpful to your application, feel free to add it in, and we'd love to see that as well. I think that's everything on the application front. As far as next steps, so applications are due on March 24th by 5 p.m. PST. We are pretty strict with that, so try your best to get it in before that date. The earlier, the better. And then all applicants will be notified by the end of April, and then we'll kick off on May 10th. So I think Carolyn talked about this a bit, but just reiterating that this bootcamp is primarily self-directed. So be ready to take that initiative to learn and absorb the content, and then bring that to the live sessions, which we'll be talking all together as a group in, and those are mandatory on the Wednesdays between 5 and 6. Carolyn, anything I may have missed here?
Yeah, can you go to, thanks, Allie. Can you go up to the previous slide?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just also want to point out with the application in case it's helpful, right? So why do we do the video portion, right? Like you're like, why are we doing this? Well, let's be real, right? Let's be honest. Not everybody, I don't know, how many people can brag about themselves, right? Does that come easy to you? Does it come easy to share your highlights, your highlight reels, talk about yourself, right? That's not easy for everyone. Also, sometimes people maybe, writing is just not their channel to communicate ideas, right? But if you get them in front of a camera, oh my goodness, their passion all of a sudden is lighting up. You can hear their voice, you can see their face. You're like, oh my gosh, right? And so what we found through over the years is we just are trying to create the best places for you to talk about yourself. Some people do that better through writing. Other people do that great through the camera. Some people do it both ways, right? So this is why we do the video part. And just keep in mind that video does not need to be fancy at all. I kid you not, one of my favorite videos we've received was they're an outdoor brand, right? And so I kid you not, they brought us on a walk with them. They literally were like, well, here I am. This is what I do. This is my brand. And it worked. It was just a very quick, simple video of them going outside and how on brand, right? It's an outdoor brand. It totally makes sense. And so that's just a way too. Other people have just been completely authentic with their video. Like, hey guys, I don't know what I'm doing. This is why I think this boot camp is right for me. So just please keep that in mind too, right? This is a place for you to talk to us. Tell us everything. We want to applaud you. We want to hear it, right? So just want to make sure I highlight that part. And then even with the traction question, that can be hard depending on what stage you're at. So let's just say it's an idea on a little bit of traction. Talk to us about that, right? Have you talked to potential customers? Okay, great. You did interviews, right? That counts as tractions, right? It may not be customers. And so I just want to make sure to highlight that because we tend to get quite a bit of questions about those type of things. And then for Ali, let's talk about the mentorship program. Just want to highlight that even more. Thank you. And so this boot camp, we understand we want to grow with you, right? As you grow and as you scale your company, we like to support you along the way too. So the idea is this boot camp will feed into an upcoming program, which we're calling a mentorship program. And in order to participate in that program, you do need to do the boot camp, right? That is almost as a prerequisite, if you will. And the mentorship program will be more one-on-one, right? Where you'll have a smaller group of people, you'll get hands-on attention from our advisors and actually our mentors who are part of Grid110. We'll bring in experts to do live conversations with you. So keep that in mind. If that is something that sounds really good that you would like to work towards, keep that in mind with this boot camp, right? Not only do we want to support you at this boot camp, but yeah, the mentorship program seems like a good fit. We'd love to see you continue on in that program. So if you're one of those people who really loves working with community and structure and accountability, right? That's like 4 months of a program that you'll be going through with other people. And so just want to make sure to point that out because that is a little bit different with this boot camp. It's something that we haven't done before is a boot camp, but we're going to give you that type of mentorship as well for those who might be interested. And now we'll have a different level of questions that we ask, right? So just keep that in mind as you think about your milestones and your goals, if that resonates with you. And then Ali, I think we're good. And so if there's any questions, please feel free to send them at programs@grid110.org. Like say if you think of a question after our time together here, you can always email us there, right? We want to support you. So with that said, that's our presentation and we'd love to jump in and see if there's any questions from any of you. Feel free to just drop it in the chat if there's a question there, or you can just raise your hand and we can unmute you and we can go from there. So are there any questions right now at this time from anyone? Yeah, Matt, I see you raise your hand. What's going on?
Hey, yeah, thanks, Carolyn and Allie, for the overview. Seems like a great program. Excited to apply. I just had one question around the content. I saw there's a lot of help for developing the pitch and the story and just making sure it's a viable idea in business. Is any of the content also dedicated to prototype development, or how do you approach prototype development for coaching entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thank you for that. So yeah, that is part of the problem solution fit, right? And customer discovery, which you'll find in the content, is this idea of prototyping, right? What do you do with the information that you receive that might be new? Sometimes what we'll say is, pivot again, or build, launch again, right? To try to get to the idea that what do you call it? I know Justin always says you don't want to become so attached to your company or the problem, or that you're not able to build, you're not able to take information. So yeah, in short, Matt, absolutely, that is something that you'll see in the content. And the good news too is if there's even further you want to go with the particular content, maybe you're farther along, great, reach out to us, because the likelihood we probably have other content that we could add to the bootcamp or sing you or talk to you offline on. So great question. Absolutely. Love where your head's at, because yep, exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Who is next? Tim, I want to ask you, how do I pronounce your name? T-H-E-M? Tim, want to make sure I get that correct.
Hi, it's Tembegile.
Perfect. Say that one more time.
Tembegile.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So happy you're here. What's your question?
Yeah, so my question is, does this program also work for people who want to provide like a social service? And yeah, something like that. And then I guess my company also includes a social service and then products with it, but mostly about the service. So
what would the service be, if you don't mind? What is the social service?
More like a program that helps teach people like certain things like preventative medicine, things like that.
Yes. So in short, yes, yeah. We've had a couple companies go through who did services or educational type of a product, if you will. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, thank you. Hope to see your application. Hope to see everybody's application here. Please, this is the message to apply. If you need to apply. Let's see. Just want to make sure I pronounce it right. Artine?
Yeah, Artine, you got it.
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Caroline, and Ali as well. Love the presentation. I love the passion, the energy, focus on community. Here's my question. So I understand Idea to Launch Bootcamp. I'm a solo founder, early stage, trying to launch in the next 3 months. So all that sounds great. For the next step, which is being ready for the mentorship program, I'm curious, one, what do you look to as saying, are you ready for the next step? And then two, once you're in that mentorship program, what does success look like for a founder? What's the goal of that program?
Look at you already jumping ahead. Okay. So more info on the mentorship program will come, right? For people who do apply to the boot camp, right? But in short, right, the idea of the boot camp is to help you launch, right? And so think of it like that. The mentorship program will be really to help, like, did you launch? Did you do the thing that you wanted to do? Okay. We want to continue to support you, because as you know, with entrepreneurs, right, it helps to have support along the way, because it's like, woo. And so that's what I would say is, what are your milestones? What do you want out of the boot camp? Great, communicate that to us, right? And we'll ask you these questions for people who join the boot camp and get accepted. We'll because we want to track it, right? And then let's say you launch after the boot camp and you're like, I'm ready. I'm ready for my first customer, my first 5. Great. Okay, that might be the goal that you have in the mentorship program. I want to do this next. This is how I need support to do that. And so keep that in mind, right? The goal was to launch in this program. Well, the mentorship program is like, okay, oh my gosh, you launched. Now what? So that's one way you can look at that, if that's helpful. Does that answer it okay?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And I have to ask, I love that, no equity taken, no fee. So what's the catch?
The catch is we're a nonprofit. Different model.
Nice.
There is no catch. The catch is we're here and we love this community. So that's the catch. Our partners, I should say, right? Partners believe in this mission as well. So very grateful to them.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you, Carolyn.
Of course. Thank you. BG.
Idol.
Oh, so close. I'm sorry, BJ. You even had the parentheses and everything. So I was like, I'm going to go for this. How are you?
I have a question on sort of what kinds of outcomes and milestones you're looking for when you talk about being ready to launch within 3 months. So I'm looking at opening a space for something, but also having programming. So I probably can't open a space.
Yeah.
I can design some programming and like do some of the other parts of it. So I'm wondering what, if that is a fit or if that's like too early.
It's a fit, right? Like, please don't let any of the words, if I confuse, apply, right? That is the message I'm going to say. Apply. Don't be the obstacle in your own way. So with yours, right, we understand that. That's a different type of company. You need a space, you need leasing. That takes a little bit more time. And so it's important for you to tell us in your application, what's your milestone? For some, it's to launch a website. That might be a big deal with the type of service you have. It's like, well, if you need to sell products, you probably should have a website, right? Depending on what your product is. So the same would be for you. Considering out on your roadmap, what's the first step you need to do? Is it programming? Is it building community around the programming? Then that will allow you to get space, right? I'm not sure. I have to talk to you, right? But talk to us about that in your application. What is the first milestone you're trying to hit? Right? It could be programming and building new customers and community while eventually trying to find space. And we've seen that too. Is that helpful? Does that answer it?
Yeah. So launching is like loosely defined and sort of like getting to the next thing.
Yeah, it's to help you launch, right? We say, I think a product or a service, it sounds like if you're doing a program that we might count that as a service, right? You're doing something educational. You might be charging for that. You're building new customers who will hopefully maybe come to the brick and mortar one day. So you're launching a first product, it sounds like, for this bigger idea, which is going to include a brick and mortar space as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just perfect. But yes, apply. Let us know. Right. We'll talk. Right. Don't let this language confuse you, because I know sometimes it's like, what does that even mean? But apply and just let us know. We're here for you. Okay. Susan?
Hi. Yeah, I really enjoyed your presentation too. It's very exciting and I do love the energy. I wanted to know more about the community building within the program. 1 hour a week is not a lot of time. Is there some kind of like Discord channel or online community where we can further network?
Mm-hmm. Great question. That's a great question. So that is something we're actually thinking about, right? We are still thinking about, what does community mean? How do we build community online? One thing that we are looking into, which we are planning to do, is some in-person events, especially because everybody here will hopefully be in and around LA. And so figuring out, okay, is there an event we can do before the program launches? That way you can already meet each other in person. Is there an event we can do towards the end of the program, right? Something celebratory. So that's one thing. Another thing we're thinking about that we'll probably do that you can self-select in. Sometimes it's helpful going through a program in a smaller group. And we do this in our other programs. They're called accountability groups. It's where you can, together you all choose a day to meet where you either talk about the content, talk about what's going on in your life, offer personal support. And so what we'll probably do is for people who like, yes, I want to do the boot camp, we'll probably ask you that question. Would you like to also be part of an accountability group? Here are the times, and try to match you that way, right? To further build community outside the program. And last but not least, remember when I said earlier, generosity, or this is education. So sometimes what we also have is we'll have some founders within a group actually create some other things to add to the program. And so that could be, maybe you have a WhatsApp or a Discord or something like that that you don't mind creating, and you add people to that, right? Cool. And we welcome that. Like that's what we want. And I think we might even have a community question, but like, that's what we want. We want those founders who are pouring and giving and coming up with ideas and letting us know too. So the idea is, yes, we absolutely care about the community. We love, you know, if you have it, I'd love to hear your ideas with Discord. But again, there'll be time for in-person. We'll likely do an accountability group for people who want to work together offline. And then again, people in a community might raise their hand and say, hey, y'all, I'm doing a co-working space here. Here's where I'm posted up. Would love for you to come. So community is what the community makes it too. So we hope it's a relationship that you also help us create and drive.
That's awesome. Thank you. You answered my follow-up question already. So
cool. Great. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Okay. And Hung Nam.
Yes, you nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Oh, yes. Yes. Let's go.
That's amazing. First of all, Caroline, Ali, thank you so much for putting this together. Super, super helpful. The question I have for you is with respect to the company that was, you know, admitted to the cohort, the 24 cohort, you know, you mentioned, can you provide a breakdown in terms of industry? Which industry, which sectors are they from? Would be super helpful to know that as well.
Yeah. Ali, do you have the specific breakdown? One thing that I will say about our cohort, we're industry agnostic. And so we generally accept all industries except, I forgot what the word is, but like, is it like we can't accept cannabis touching industries because we do, you know, we're a nonprofit. So we are industry agnostic. Do you have a further breakdown though, Ali, of our main industries that we've supported with these cohorts?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo that. I think there hasn't really been an industry that we haven't touched with a company that we've worked with. I'd say, you know, maybe the most common come out of the CPG retail space, e-commerce a bit, health and wellness. Those are probably the ones that stick out the most, especially given our history as an accelerator, have worked with a lot of brick and mortar retail spaces, started out, you know, having a lot of fashion focused businesses as well. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the applications we receive and companies that we work with, there really isn't an industry we haven't worked with. So don't let the kind of the ones that we've seen come up the most hinder you in terms of thinking about applying or thinking about if this is going to be the right fit for you. Yeah, you said industry, and then did you also ask, sorry, was there a second part to your question? Okay, great.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Let's see, Rolando.
Hi, how's it going? This is really informative and I'm very grateful for this information. So I'm touching back on the service-based business. I have a sustainability consulting company that focuses on residential and commercial properties. There's many different aspects to when it comes to sustainability. So I wanted to know, is this something that you can potentially allow for me to come into? And two, and I like the idea of the Discord, but I think, and this is my 2 cents in the bucket, but with nonprofits, there's always like hey, we want to help you, but there's not really a bi-directional relationship that is established with a lot of nonprofits. For example, that being said, we have about, I'm assuming about 40 people on this call, more or less, and there could be a very big amount of affiliate marketing that can be done between people. You know, I feel like between amongst us all. So is there a possibility for that to be developed as well?
All right. So the second question, are you talking about like affiliate marketing?
Yeah, because, well, I mean, I guess I would put it in my example because I would be able to contextualize it the easiest. But essentially, for anybody that owns a property, I make it more efficient through many different means, which means a better bottom line for whoever owns that property, which means if they're actually approaching you to do business with you or look for help, they're actually going to have more financial capabilities if they work with me, which makes it better for you, which makes it better for everybody.
Yeah, we probably have to sit down and like go deeper.
Yeah, but I'm just, the first question was more so towards the service. And is that something that is viable?
So generally with our programming, one thing we don't do is like service-based. So like what I mean by that is consultants, right? Like consultants or agencies, like marketing agencies, it's a little bit tougher with working with those type of companies. And so we just don't think we're necessarily the right program to support those type of service-based companies. What I mean is like consultants, if that makes sense. So generally with all of our programs, we don't work with those type of companies. Is that helpful? And it,
Go ahead.
no, I wanted, what was your follow-up on that one?
I mean, it is helpful. I don't have a marketing company, but I see what you mean. I'm just wondering though, because overall, again, it's a sustainability consulting company that can have many different aspects upon which we're actually looking to get into the 3D printing world and a couple other things. So we're getting into actual, fashion where we have tangible products, and then we're getting into just helping a commercial real estate person or a property owner consume less energy. So
Okay.
it's a very amalgamation of products and services. So is there kind of like a loophole in a way, I guess?
Probably not a loophole, what it sounds like to me. It sounds like it might be a consultant, but me and you might have different definitions of that word, like how I'm interpreting that. Because when you're talking like that, it sounds a little bit different than what I was thinking, if that makes sense. My best thing would be for you is you can send us an email to programs@grid110.org. Want to make sure we spend enough time thoroughly understanding your company so we can support you. And then number two, apply, right? Because don't let something that I say maybe say, oh, well, they don't support it. I might have just misheard you how you described that company. And then last but not least, with affiliate marketing, that's another deep dive, right? Keep in mind, we've been around 7 years. We've, you saw the stats, right? 70 years, 270 companies supported, 470 jobs created, raised 120 million. Our founders are affiliate marketing, right? Like the founders, the partners supporting us. We have 2 programs where we partner with 2 local, a VC firm with Slauson & Co, Friends and Family, and Pledge LA, which is an initiative in LA supporting LA folks as well. So it depends on what you're defining, but we definitely, when I say we have a village, we have partners, and honestly, our founders are our biggest ambassadors. We wouldn't be around if our founders didn't talk about us. And so perhaps that's how we look at it as well. But again, email us at programs@grid110.org. That'd be great if we need to jump on a conversation, we can absolutely make sure we can do that.
Thank you.
I want to be clear. Thank you so much. All right. Bijel.
I actually have 2 questions at this
Yeah,
point.
go for it. Let's hear it.
One is, you mentioned the video and written application being like our opportunity to kind of find the best ways to talk about ourselves. Are you looking for like the same content presented or like different information, or, what is the video versus the written application? And then the second question is, you just mentioned Slauson & Co as an example, but do you help us, like if we're doing something that's connected with someone that has been through the programming or a mentor, do you make sort of one-off introductions if we're ready, and you think we're ready to connect with them? Yeah. And then the last part, I just wanted to uplift, there are a couple questions in the chat that are further up.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you for that. Allie, can you look at the chat if you don't mind? Thank you. So, okay, I'm gonna get these 3 questions. So, okay. So the first, sorry, now I'm gonna say the first question with the video. Right, you don't need to repeat what was an application. I mean, obviously some parts are gonna sound the same because you're talking about yourself and your company, but it just gives you a different way to talk to us about it, right? You don't need to like read it, just talk to us. What's your company? How do you describe it? Who are you? So you don't spend a lot of time thinking about this, right? Because if your video does sound like your application, okay, it just sounds like that. That's great. That's fine. Maybe your pitch, honestly, is very clear and you got it down. That's what that might tell me, right? But if it's different, great. I'm going to learn different things about you. You could talk about why this program, right? Is there a question you wish you could talk a little bit more about why this program, what's your company. So don't try not to overthink that video component. If it sounds the same, that's okay, but use that as the time to just talk about yourself, right? And then the second question was, I know you talked about partnerships, one-off introductions. I would say it depends. It depends, right? This is a boot camp. Keep in mind that's a boot camp that's intended to help you launch. You'll be meeting with already an EIR each week. If it makes sense to provide an introduction, we do. We do this all of the time. So if that makes sense for you, we think we can absolutely support that. We will, right? And then keep in mind with the mentorship program, that's when we really start bringing more mentors and strategic advisors in to really support you and give you, that type of expertise that maybe you're craving or really interested in. Does that make sense? And I think you have one more question. Not sure if I hit on it though.
No, that was it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Susan?
Yeah, hi. I'm just curious, can you describe what's the difference between a consultant and a service? And why do you feel consultant isn't a fit?
I will say it depends. And this is what we'll do too with your emails. It can be helpful. Like, so say if you have a consultant business, email us to talk about what does that entail? What does that mean? So like, for instance, what kind of business do you have? I should ask versus doing a broad answer.
I do augmented reality.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess it's not, I mean, I don't know if you consider that a consultant or not. I mean, like I build apps, I build filters.
Yeah.
And other stuff.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. Is that a service? I mean,
Like
is that a consultancy? Like what was?
That sounds to me like a service. Keep in mind, everyone, I don't want to confuse you here, right? We're doing this so quickly. I would really need to talk to you about your company on this. And the quickest way, if it sounds like, I don't know, email, because then we can actually look at it, dive deeper into it. And my thing is apply. Please don't let this keep you out, because the company you just described did not sound like it sound like a service to me, like building apps, building augmented reality. That's what it sounds like to me. It didn't sound like.
Oh, consultancy is more like just giving advice and you don't actually have something that there's no like deliverable.
I don't want to say that, right? There's different pieces, but it just, right. I want to be very mindful and respectful of, I don't love that, but it didn't sound to me like what we generally would deem as that or consider.
Okay. Because you did say agency, and I consider myself to be like a studio. So like, I don't know, studio agency.
Yeah, that's fine. Ali, is there anything you would touch on with marketing? Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have used the agency. It's probably honestly too broad of a term to use.
No, I was just going to echo what you were saying in terms of the application is really designed to give us a really good look at your company in more detail and kind of what you've been working on. So I would really encourage you to, if you're on the fence, to apply, and we'll take the time to kind of comb through if it's a fit and how your business is set up. I mean, the application will kind of help provide that to us. So I think if you're on the fence or think that you might be an exception in some way, just to echo Carolyn, would definitely encourage you to apply, because we will spend significant time with each application to make sure it is a fit and let you know, of course, if not. But yes, you can email any clarifying questions along there as well. But just want to make sure, you're not kind of getting in your own way of applying if you're unsure, because I think we obviously, like Carolyn has said, only have a few minutes to kind of get a snapshot of your company here, but can get a much more thorough idea in the application.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. Any other questions that we could be helpful? Hopefully answered everything in a chat. Brad, I see a question from you.
Hey, how you doing, Carolyn?
I'm good. Thanks, Brad. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for just all the information and for your energy. It's just got me excited about my company, so thank you so much. I guess my question is more so for each cohort, is there a limit to the size of it? Like, do we know if there's a cap on how many you all carry for a cohort? And secondly, is there anything we should look for when we're applying that you all focus on, that you're like, make sure that this is in there, and it'll give you a better opportunity to be a part of the cohort?
Good question. Ali, you want to answer the application related one?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard to say, like, there isn't some specific kind of, way of getting us what we want in the application. I think we're really looking at kind of your whole person and whole concept as a whole, and looking at you as a founder as well as the work you've done. And yeah, so I wouldn't say that there's like anything that we haven't said as far as the application. I think really, like Carolyn said, put your best foot forward, brag about yourself. As much as it can be uncomfortable to talk about the work that you've done, this is the place to really celebrate that. And again, because we're at idea stage, that can look like a lot of different things. It can look like how you're measuring your own success is not going to be the same across all of the ideas, right? So just give us more details as to how you're looking at it and the work that you've put in. I think the video, again, is a great opportunity to show some personality and make it unique to maybe your business or who you are. There's a couple other short answer questions that we didn't talk about, a community element, because that's such a big, important part of what we do. We ask you about how you think about community and engage in your own community. That's a great opportunity as well. We also have a kind of founder background team question, so that can be a great opportunity to tell us how maybe work that you've done in the past, or how you're making this company out of a passion you have. So really, yeah, like I said, I think that the application is designed to really get the best out of you in terms of give you opportunities to talk about what you've done and really celebrate that. So yeah, I would definitely just kind of think about each of the questions, put your best foot forward in terms of being thoughtful about your answers and giving us a good view of the work that you've done and who you are as a founder.
Well, thanks for sharing that, because it seems like there's a range of applicants from probably not really starting at all to some that have started. So I just wanted to see how the balance would be there. So let's say we haven't started with a community, it would be more so talking about what we would want to produce.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And other things that you've done to kind of build, and that could look like a lot of different things. I think even from seeing founders on this call, like some will have a more hardware product that will take many, many years to develop, whereas some will, they want to launch their website or a newsletter list, or, so I think it's hard to be one size fits all in that way and kind of evaluate everyone the same. We're kind of looking at where you're at and where your goals are and how you're measuring up against those to really get a good idea of how we can help you and if it's a fit for the boot camp.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I guess my second question was about the cohort size per cohort you all have. And my last question was, how important is the pitch deck? Because I have one, but I'm not sure if it's something I really need to include, if it's going to beef it up, or if I can just wait till later in order for that.
Pitch deck, no. Like, no, like if you need to spend time, like a lot of time doing it, please don't. That is not the intent of the optional documents, right? Like, no, don't worry about that. Thanks for the question though. Ali, what do you think with the size?
Yeah, so I think traditionally we've had about 20 companies in our cohorts for each of the programs. This is the first of our like doing a boot camp. So that's not to say that that's going to be the same for this. I think it's really going to be about how many ideas we're excited about and want to, and what will make up a good boot camp of complementary founders as well. So we're not being held to that number for this. But yeah, I'm don't want to just give kind of a number in terms of what we're looking for. I think we're looking for that sweet spot of still being able to support each of the founders and create that community, but also be able to give this to more than 20, which is our traditional size. So finding the right balance within that of what that looks like.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.
Agree with Ali on that. It'll be a little bit larger likely, but you know what I mean? That's why I say fill out the application. I'm telling you, if you spend a couple, you know what I mean? Like, but truly be thoughtful. I can promise you, you can tell an application that's thoughtful, a founder who has been thinking about this idea. Yes, it might be an idea. Maybe you don't have a customer yet. Okay. But you can tell a founder who is ready, they can describe it, they can talk about their milestones, right? They can talk about the points where it's like, I need help here, can you support me here? I'm looking for community, right? So that's what we're looking for. We want to create this community, this boot camp of people who are also ready to support each other, and they will be in different stages. That's normal, right? From someone who's just an idea, but they're ready to get started, all the way to maybe there is an MVP, but it could be hardware. Like Ali said, hardware is different. It's just different. It takes a little bit more time. And so we respect that and we honor that and we understand that you'll be in different places. And so we really, it's really important for us to try to also foster a community that you all also pour into each other, if that makes sense. We'll provide, of course, content and structure and also a mentorship continuation program for those who are ready for it. But that's okay if your whole point is boot camp. Keep that in mind. If it's an idea, it's probably just boot camp for right now. Great, that's fine. And then for people who might be a little bit farther along, okay, fine. Maybe you want to go on to the mentorship. Great. We're there for you both stages and just, trying to support you like the pipeline, right? Like I'm here, then I'm here, then I'm here a year from now. We got other programs too that might be a perfect fit, maybe 1 or 2 years from now. And we're excited. We want to work with you earlier and earlier on.
Wonderful. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks for the question. Oh my gosh, are we one more question? We have to jump at 1:30, but everybody feel good? Any questions? Again, programs at grid110.org. Apply, right? We spend a lot of time with each application here. So please know that. And if there's any questions, email us. But any last minute questions? Thanks, Artine. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate all of your time. It's so good seeing y'all. Just really hope you all apply. In fact, I really hope to see your applications come across. We're very excited to work with you and excited to just, feed into LA, right? This is a beautiful community. Let's support each other. Awesome. All right, y'all. Take care. Take care. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stay dry out there.
Thanks, everyone.